Hello, everyone. Welcome in, guys. Welcome to the stream. Today, we're talking about patch notes 1.3.20.0, and we're also talking about the creator call. Now, the details of the creator call earlier today, which I think everybody kind of knows about at this point, or at least a lot of people do, are embargoed. I can still say quite confidently it was a really good call. It was very informative. The developers were open, honest, no nonsense, no BS. Um, we can talk more on Thursday, and that would be the other main thing I would say. So Thursday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, the stream is already up, guys, so you can see it in your local time. But it's 10 a.m. Mountain Time for me, so it's going to be in the morning. Um, in that, oh, there we go. Sorry, that stream will be. So we'll watch their update for the next patch launch or whatever you want to call it. Um, there's some cool stuff coming, and you should really check it out. And we can talk more then, and then we can also talk after about not only what's coming, but like just kind of the future of the game and talk more about it. But again, I just want to like emphasize several things. First off, it's really cool that they're doing this. Period. A lot of games of the similar size will you just never have access to the developers. Elder Scrolls Online is the other major game I cover, and like the chances of something like this happening there is like a snowball's chance in hell. Like it's just they haven't done that kind of stuff in a very very long time, and so it's really cool. The again, what the developers had to say, they were open, they were honest, um, just incredibly positive for me overall. Are there still going to be issues moving forward, and is there still going to be stuff to be unhappy about? Absolutely. Again, game development never happens at the pace that players would like. There are still some things that I think they're behind the eight ball on just because of the original, vision for the game, and then having to pivot to make it more PvE focused and stuff like that. We already know all that stuff going on. And then the other thing I want to remind everybody is that, Dune Awakening is an incredible value. It's incredibly well monetized. Like it's not predatory at all. And you pay once and then you can buy the individual chapters as they're releasing new content, which makes sense. And there's no subscription, there's no microtransactions, there's no loot boxes and predatory and I think for a lot of us that are really into the game, we would be happy to throw some money at it. I, I I made that point today with regards to housing. So, yeah. Anyways, a lot of great things I think in store for the future of Dune. I think there's also some, in some ways, action items, some things that we can do as players. This happens with so many games where sometimes us as players can become our own worst enemies. When you go everywhere and you rant and rave about the things you hate about a game, what people hear is that this is a bad game. And what oftentimes people are trying to express is like, this is a really good game, I just would like some changes. And I think some of that is it ends up being a self-fulfilling prophecy is what happens a lot of times. The other thing I'll say just generally, and again this is why I'm so positive, is that they are listening and they're acting upon feedback. And I say that again as someone who's covered Elder Scrolls Online for years and years, and they're guilty of not doing that to an extreme, of not listening to players' feedback. They're maybe turning a corner now currently, but in recent history and for a long time before that, they've done a very bad job of that. Sorry, I went for a run, so I'm gotta crack a window. It's a little warm in here. I'm still sweating. Yeah, and what I am most concerned about is not that someone gets it right the first time necessarily. Like, I mean, that's nice. We'd like that, but listening to feedback and acting upon it is so much more important because mistakes are going to be made. Things are going to happen that aren't going to be perfectly in line with what players want. There's going to be issues. It's just going to happen. We don't want it to happen, but it's going to happen. And so it's much more important to me what is done once that kind of thing happens. And yeah, anyways, I won't say anymore because I'm afraid I'll say something I shouldn't. But it was incredibly positive, is what I would say. That was my takeaway, at least as someone who covers this industry and has for a while. I think that's another thing too. Um, just to give you guys a little bit of perspective of where I come from. I think a lot of longtime viewers of the channel kind of know this stuff, but I have been covering games, for about 4 or 5 years now, and professionally, and I spend a great deal of time trying to understand what's going on the other side of the screen, what is going on with development. I have had the opportunity and been very lucky to have some friends that I've made through gaming that are also developers because they're gamers. Most developers are, and pretty much all of them, really. And I've had the chance to see behind the curtain. I've had a chance to get things explained to me. I also have a bit of a background in coding, not an extensive background, but enough to know what I don't know a little bit. And I've also tried to educate myself and stuff like that. Not every streamer, not every YouTuber that's where they're coming from. That's where I come from. That's the stuff that I am interested in, and trying to be a subject matter expert on the things that I'm reporting on and talking to you guys about. And so having a little bit more understanding. And what often happens is with games is pretty much anytime a new game comes out, there'll be someone who is playing the game and they're streaming, and they just love the game. And a lot of times their channel will blow up for that particular game. And people end up with many times the number of subscribers that I have, and I'm very happy for them and that. A lot of times, though, that's a person who likes to play games and has just been playing games, and then this thing kind of happened, which is great for them. They don't necessarily have the same basis in understanding what's going on the other side of the screen, and a lot of times that can lead to problems, and I think we're going to see that in the not too distant future. I think we've already kind of seen it, where it can be very hard for a creator or a streamer to understand and appreciate just the realities of the situation. And I oftentimes am not trying to make excuses, but I'm just trying to explain that, like, hey, this is going to take time. Hey, that's not going to happen. Because sometimes, again, we're and we shouldn't be, but we're not developers. We don't always know what would take a long time and what have you. I often see players will suggest ideas, and you're like, that's a really cool idea. That's going to take a lot of coding to make that happen. And understanding that if they're doing that, then they have to give up something else elsewhere. And so there's always this like I had someone comment on a video recently. Hey Simon, what's going on? I had someone comment recently on a video that was like, when I was talking about limited resources, they're like, what limited resources? They can just do whatever. And you're like, dude, I don't know how to respond to you in a way that doesn't sound insulting, because we all operate with limited resources. We all have limited time. Businesses have limited money, limited time, development time, etc. That's just the way the economies work. All right. Anyways, hopefully I said that in a way that communicates what I want to communicate, but also is not. I'm never trying to throw shade at anybody else, right? I think that the other thing is, like, us as consumers, your opinion is always valid, right? It's your opinion. So if you're pissed off about something, be pissed off about it. It is the company's job to then take that and do something meaningful with it. All right. Hey there, sleepers. This update. So, oh yeah. Guys, a update launched today. All of the testing stations have been changed into a format. They've been nerfed. The bosses have been nerfed in such a way that they are doable now in groups, and reasonably so. So we tested those out, and the feedback I got from other people that tested other stations is it looks like on most bosses, and this is live, so if you try it, now or tonight, it looks like three to four ads will spawn on the boss fights, usually 3 in the first wave and then like 4 in the second on 3-person. I don't know if that goes up and it's just always 4 on 4-person, because we did 4-person like once, and then we had someone drop. We couldn't quite do it. Anyways, my point is, all of the testing stations are now doable in groups, and in a way that I don't think is entirely unpleasant. I released a video, if you're curious on how to do the lightning station, which was not changed earlier in the week. No ads on the bosses, so it's a little bit different, but that will also help you. I did get some feedback from some people that watch my beginner videos that said that one was a little bit over their head. I'll try to do something else in the future, but just know testing stations as of right now are changed. They've also changed some stuff with the way drops are working. And I would say in regards to balance changes and the way, drop rates and stuff, I think we all agree that like more stuff needs to be done. I think they're listening. They're listening. And again, if I were to score Funcom on a scale of 1 to 10, as far as, I mean, it depends on what exact metric, but as far as like listening to our feedback and acting upon it, I would say they're quite high, 8 or 9. I think that a lot of people will feel that it's a lot lower than that because they haven't listened to their individual feedback or done what they suggested. It is not the case that they're not listening. It is some part of it is that they're getting a lot of noise, and I wish they would do more. Apparently, they do some internal surveys, but I would like them to do more surveys of players, like what Arrowhead does. I think that's like S tier for industry standard. I think all games companies should be doing that, and they're not. And then, I'd really like to see a little bit more of that, but they are listening. And then I think the other thing is that the players feel like it's not happening on their time scale, or they're not doing exactly what they would like to do. And I can talk a lot more about why some of that stuff might be the way it is on Thursday. We can talk a little bit more about that, maybe get into some specifics and stuff like that. But I do think that is the reality. And I know that's going to piss some people off. Because they're going to be like, that's not my reality. But I do think they are listening and doing what they can where they can. Not that they haven't made mistakes. Not that there aren't some, I've talked before about another company that I've covered. And it's like, it's sometimes watching them do updates. It's like watching someone like accidentally rack themselves over and over again. And you're like, dude, can you please stop? It's painful for me to watch. I've seen that. I know it can be very frustrating. I don't think that's what Funcom is doing. So we can talk more about it. Or if you disagree or have whatever, like let me know. Get in the comments here. Let me know, and we can have a conversation about it. Because I bet we agree is what I would say. Simon says the budget of a game is calculated easily. You look for how many people you need and how much time, and you multiply it. If the game, I'm going to keep going on because I think that was like partial thought. Simon said, if the game revived because they sell a lot of the Dune film, maybe change a lot of the game and do a lot of content. If not, I think the game will die in a few years. Yeah, I don't think the game's going to die anytime soon, Simon. I think that they have some incredible bones here. I think they have a development team that's going to listen to feedback and is going to continue to improve. I think for those of us that are hardcore gamers, and I'm going to be honest, if you're listening to this stream, you probably fall into this category. Even if you're like, I can only play a couple hours a week right now, you're still the kind of person who would watch a streamer talk or listen to a streamer, even if you're doing other things, even if you're at work and, you got me in one ear and, you're doing your job or whatever. You're listening to a streamer talk about games. That puts you in a category that is, a pretty serious gamer. Oftentimes this stuff just isn't fast enough for us, right? Again, the developers cannot develop a game at a speed that is satisfactory for players. It is just, generally speaking, not possible. I think in a few years, there will be enough bones going on in the game that so what you need in a game is you need a critical mass of content. So, and I'm going to get to all these comments, guys. I appreciate you guys dropping them in just a second. But you need a critical mass. So let me give you an example from Elder Scrolls Online, because a lot of you guys came over from that or still play that. I do too. In Elder Scrolls Online, one of the things they have is dungeons. And every quarter, for the longest time, it would be a new dungeon, a new dungeon, a new dungeon. And at first, you're like, yeah, new dungeons. This is awesome. More dungeons, more dungeons. At some point, you're like, dude, we have like 50 or 60 dungeons. Like, and yeah, you're doing cool new stuff or whatever, but the marginal increase in player satisfaction and player enjoyment per dungeon added, it's diminishing returns, okay? The second dungeon, the first dungeon you add, that's a huge deal. The second dungeon you add, also a little bit less, but still a very big deal. The 61st dungeon you add, it's not that big of a deal, right? Like, I mean, cool, but it's not that big of a deal. And, this is always a problem with, all games. Dune right now, we're still like craving content. We need content. We want more content. And, they put out the 4 new testing stations, have been incredibly fun. I expect that we'll see more of those in the future. Hopefully one day we'll get some raids going on, but eventually there'll be a critical mass and there'll be enough stuff where it's like, yeah, I could go back and do that and still enjoy it because I have so many other things that I also get to do that I also enjoy. Will the game turn into what I would love it to be? Who's to say? But I don't think there's any chance it dies. That dying is not really in the cards for the game. And again, there's a lot of great stuff going on here. I think what some people too need to do that are a little bit in their own heads and a little bit frustrated with the game and a little bit like the content's not coming out, especially PvP players, is probably do what I did a while back, which is take a break. Go play something else. Go do something else. You can't spend, $40 on a game and expect it to keep your attention for, an entire year. It's a high expectation, and it might be a bit of an unrealistic one, is all I'm saying. What's going on, Scott? Scott says, I bet I would fund an entire chapter if they added cosmetics for money. Yeah, Scott, that is something, man, that I struggle with as someone who loves games as much as I do, as much as you guys do, right? When I find a good game, I would love to throw money at them. And I have always been this way, and I grew up poor. Okay? I grew up with not a whole lot. And gaming was always one of the things that, like, I would cut pretty much everything else, right? Like, you got to have some money you spend on yourself unless you're just completely destitute. And even then, like, again, grow up in a trailer park, like, tax return day, right? Everybody's ghetto rich and goes and spends money and everything. So, yeah, people have disposable income, and I think that I would love to spend money on games that I like, in the hopes that they would and wanting them to produce more content. It's not as always easy of a straight line, but I honestly think there's room for disruption in that regards with games companies where they could find a monetization tactic that wasn't predatory, but that did allow them continue to like update the game and everything. So, but it usually seems like you either get predatory monetization, which doesn't really help the game because all they do is like, it's just greed. They just, the finance people scoop that money up. And they still like keep everybody on just as tight of a budget. And then, that's one extreme. And then the other extreme is like these games with great monetization. I mean, I would say Helldivers has done this fairly well. They have like they have periodically every couple of months or so, they release new weapons, armor packs, and what have you. You can earn all this stuff in-game if you play a lot. If not, you will have to pay for it. I'm sure there's somebody out there. I know there's people because they've said it to me in streams that are like, oh, they don't like their monetization, but it's really not predatory. You can earn all that stuff in game pretty easily if you would like, and you can just play the game and like have enough as long as that's the main game you play. You're going to be able to earn stuff fast enough. Absolutely. Also, hey, Chuchi, I just saw you pop in, man. Yeah, man, I would like some middle ground. I wish games companies. I have a couple of thoughts that I've thrown out to friends that were developers, and they were kind of like, huh. And they would tell me if like that was a stupid idea. At first they're like, wait, how would you do this? How would you do this? And then when I explained it, they're like, oh, okay. I mean, in theory that could work. Like there's some issues and whatever, but like it's not on its face, it's not a terrible idea. And I just wish there would be some iteration in that regard with games companies. What's up? Christopher says, I saw that they have an upgraded version of Conan Exiles coming out shortly. They have other games too. Yeah. And one of the things I think I was given permission to say today, specifically, it was like one thing is that just so everybody knows, the team working on Conan Exiles, first of all, if they outsource that, I believe, or maybe it's the same team. I don't know. As far as the update, I don't know, actually. That's not what they told me. The thing they told me today is that the team working on Conan Exiles is not at all the same team as working on Dune. There are no shared resources. If there's anything, it's like Joel, since he was the creative director on Conan Exiles, popping over and answering questions or doing whatever he needs to do a little bit. But that's like minuscule, and it's literally just him. So, yeah, I think they're working. I think they're working pretty hard on console launch. I think we've been known that for a while. Let me see. Crafty says the bones of what's keeping me around. Yeah, yeah. Lucas, what's going on, man? Wow, I feel called out doing house chores with Night in my ear. I'm sorry, dude. I'm in your house, man. I hope you know. I'm watching you. All right. Simon says yes, but what I mean is that people ask for a lot of things, and there's not enough money for everything. They have to make money for the casuals of the from the casuals of the movies. I mean, sure. I don't think so. I would not be surprised if they were not planning. I would not be surprised if they were planning something for the movie release and like later on in the year. That would be a pretty smart idea. Just I don't know. They're gonna get those money from those people one time. Those of us who are hardcore gamers, they're gonna keep getting our money. But yeah, I don't know. Chuji, what's going on, man? It's so good to see you, dude. It's been a while. Chuji says, I'm probably going to pack up my base on Harmony in a week or two. I just want to make anything there while it's up go wild, though. Okay, yeah. Hey, man, thank you. I appreciate it. Chuji, you know what I decided to do, man, is I remember that I've got my wife an account, and I'm just going to pass her stuff from my main server and just give it. And that way I don't feel like I'm, so pack it up whenever you want, man. I appreciate all your help on everything. Chuji has helped me on Harmony to get set up there, guys, several times, and it's been great. Simon says, talking about ESO, they do new, better crown skins before, so that's good. I think there's a typo in there, and I'm having problems sussing it out. Chuji says, base recycling is pretty amazing. I got an entire guild base in my reserve. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Let me see. Lower deck speculation says Water Wars, I think, should open up great story content, but also just maybe allow from a cross server battleground, which would really help out PvP. Yeah, we'll see what we hear on Thursday, but I bet I would love to talk more about that stuff on Thursday and what's possible and stuff like that. I don't want to keep teasing people, but I would love to talk more about details and the future of the game on Thursday. Yeah, Chris, you love the base recycling as well. Yeah, hey Gal, what's going on? Also, what's up, Beast Mode Gaming? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, I think that's the other thing is that we've had a lot of. I would like to maybe do a video that's just kind of like, here's the state of the game. Here is what has happened. Here is what we are looking at towards the future with Dune. Because again, it might not be something that everybody's happy with, and that's fine. But I would also like us all as gamers to, every time I do this, I feel like I'm on a mission to civilize, and I lose subscribers every time I do these kind of videos because people just don't want to hear it, right? Like people much of the time just want to have their own thoughts echoed back to them. They want to have their own feelings echoed back to them. And when someone tells them something that they don't want to hear, especially when you're a creator, they just unsubscribe, which is fine. They just unsubscribe, they stop watching or whatever. But I would really like to, my goal and what I try to do is more like reporting. I would like to give the facts of like, here's the situation, here's the good things, here's the bad things. Here's some players' opinion, here's other players' opinions, and but sometimes we're not always dealing with the same facts, and that's frustrating, and it's really unfair to the game developers as well. IMO at least, yeah. Good morning to you as well, man. Chuchi says, yeah, like infinite mats I can access from any fief, pretty crazy, yeah. Outsourced. Was that the autocorrect, man? I think I missed it still. Let me make sure too. I have all chat showing. Sometimes YouTube eats chats, guys. That's never me. Just so you guys know, the only way that I'm like hide chats. Sometimes people will leave really long, kind of ranty shit posting or like ranty comments where they're so wrong about everything and they're so confidently wrong about everything that I'm like, I don't know how to help this person. I usually still try, but sometimes if they're enough of a jerk, I'm just like, cool, man, just like do your thing, and I just hide their comment. I had one of those yesterday, actually. Someone that was like confidently wrong about like six things and was like kind of yelling about them, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna waste my time. You already know, more than I do apparently. Chi says they need to monetize the game better, so they got a bigger team and budget. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, I use two accounts to move stuff to other servers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I need to do. Yeah, man. I don't know. We could talk about that a little bit. I know we said patch notes, but we're talking about the game in general. One of the things that developers and companies really struggle with is, and this is like part of this is the finance people. So if you look at um, games companies run on cycles, right? And so you have different times where there's a lot for certain groups to do. And the guy coding is not the guy doing the artwork, right? So you can kind of imagine. In small companies, sometimes that might be true, but generally speaking, it's not. Certainly not with any major game. And what will happen is with a lot of stuff like this is once they're done, this also happens with just software developers in general. At least it has historically, where they'll hire people to do a job. Again, this is something I can speak on. That my dad was a computer programmer and he worked on contracts his entire career. So he gets hired to do a contract, 2 years, come implement this system. We need you to come do this. This state needs some computer system that does this thing, right? And that's just a state thing. There could be IBM, whatever. And they say, okay, cool, you make it. And then it's done. And maybe they decide, hey, this worked well. We'd like to add on. Okay, new contract, right? Or they say, okay, well, we need someone to continue to maintain this, or we need someone to update these databases, or we need all these other things. And they hire on. Games companies do something that's not too dissimilar to that. What U.S. games companies and a lot of different places, what they do is when they don't need the people, they just fire everybody. They lay everybody off. There are places. Japan has several studios that are very good about this. I don't know how all of their studios are. I can't speak to that in general, but it is much more it's a different culture, as you might be aware. But there's a lot of studios that when they'll finish I've seen some that they finished a big project and they don't have anything for their team to do while they're figuring out what they're going to do next. And what some of them have done is they break up their large team into smaller teams, and they had to make like indie style games. And then the sales from those games, some of them are a hit, some of them aren't, but the sales from those games then go to pay the salaries of all of those teams. And so they don't have to just constantly lay people off. And when you do that, that is why we see some of the nonsense that we see with gaming too, is because the person that was there, a year ago isn't there now. And us as players are like, wait, didn't you already learn this lesson? And it's like, no, the company learned that, but there's no institutional knowledge because that person has been swapped out with somebody else now. And the new person has to come and relearn the same mistake. And you see that quite often with stuff that we get frustrated about. And we're like, why are you committing the same mistake over and over again? And so, there are ways of doing this. If you look at Larian, right? They're not firing all their staff, then rehiring more. There are also other things you can do. If you look at a company like Owlcat, their team is like dispersed among a whole bunch of countries. And, one of the things that is beneficial with that is, especially in the modern day, this is not true 2 decades ago, but everybody has access to computers, even in like less developed or less wealthy countries. It has become more cost effective to own a computer and stuff like that. And so you have people with a lot more knowledge. And so you can pay people a fraction because the cost of living there is a lot lower to do the same job. And so you get so much more bang for your buck. A lot of programmers, a lot of companies too, and I think this is somewhat games development as a industry is kind of still developing, I would say, in a lot of ways. And what I mean by that is that you have people that when they started their careers making games, it is not the same industry as it is now, right? If you think about, there are people that have been making games for 30 years And whenever they started their career in 95, which is crazy to say, and when you have people that have been doing it for even longer, maybe recently retired, who were starting, game development was a totally different animal then, and it has evolved. And one of the main things is now most games are like a live service, and that is very different and difficult for a lot of developers, and a lot of them too, especially the we'll call them the old guard. I don't know. Not everybody. Some of them were just nerds that really liked games, and nerds as a group, we don't have exactly the social skills, and so when you ask them to manage a team of people, there's a lot of nerds that are not going to be good at doing that. They're not good at managing people. And so when you're like, oh, just hire more programmers, just hire more this, just hire more that, you can find that it can be very hard to find those people. And honestly, in general, with just engineers as a whole, anybody with an engineer title, it is so common. It's kind of a trope. It's kind of but it is so common to find an engineer who might be good at their job and has really poor social skills. And that can be one of the things, if you're an engineer, is like, oh, can we find an engineer that can also talk to other people? Oh, thank God that we need that. Some engineer jobs, it's like, yeah, no, we'll put you in a room and you do your work and it's fine. But there are people that will work on games, and like maybe it's UI, right? And instead of being on a team that also does UI, they're just like, no, just let me do everything with UI. If you need anything, come to me. And that's kind of how they do it. So just I am with you, because as someone who knows how to manage people and has done that before, I'm like, yeah, just add people, find a solution. But you just have to realize that, again, you might have people that got into the business 20 years ago, or even are getting into the business now, and not as many of them as you would think are. It's really hard to find the crossover. A lot of times these companies have the finance people, and then they have the gaming people, and there's a gap in between them, right? And there's one or two people that are in those gaps, but it can be very hard. Like, we think about this more holistically, and I don't think that everybody does this. And it's the same thing that happens with a lot of creative pursuits. Happens with movies, where there's the money people and there's the creative people, and it is rare to find somebody who can do both, is I guess what I would say. What's going on, Brian? Brian McBride says, do you get a sense that Funcom is heading to private servers and leaving the larger public hosting, or are they hinting direction to large-scale DD interactions? So I can't really, I don't know anything specific, Brian. I can tell you that I think that Funcom changing to having private hosted and stuff like that, that was really big with Conan Exiles, and has been something that they have done a lot. And so I think they have a lot of people coming, that are Funcom fans that are playing Dune Awakening. And so those same people want those same things. And so I think that what we are seeing is not necessarily I don't know. I couldn't say for sure, but I would suspect that it's not a shift in their thinking so much as they're listening to feedback and acting upon it. I think that's what's going on. A lot of people would like private servers. They're very loud about it. I don't know how much of the community that is. I don't know if it's a very vocal minority, if it's a significant amount, but I don't get the impression that they're abandoning the game as a public server, hosting kind of thing. Yeah, I don't get that impression at all. I could be wrong. Yeah, but I don't get that impression. I think it's more that they are just listening to feedback from customers and acting upon it. That's the impression I get. So, all right, let's jump in here now that we talked about that a little bit. I never did actually say what my kind of thoughts on it, but another time. All right, hey there, sleepers. This update comes with an exciting introduction that you may have seen in our last developer blog. PvE and PvP Deep Desert instances. I don't know if you guys have checked this out yet, but it is live. While also having changes to testing station bosses and loot performance improvements, various fixes, and more. Take a look, try it out. Let us know what you think. Cool. So I think they are looking still for feedback. I wish there would be Ezra says, I wish there would be a decent RP private servers with huge fights and good PvP. Yeah. Well, I think that's another thing, that RP servers and stuff was a big deal in Conan Exiles, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's more of that kind of stuff in the future. They say we also wanted to mention that self-hosted servers will be enabled at a later date. There are much more technicalities to sort out before we would like to release it, but we'll be sure to keep you all updated on this. We know it's something many of you are looking forward to, so we're working hard at making it available as soon as possible. I don't know how they're doing this either, but one of the things that is a good like fundamental business practice for any company is to always say yes for a price. Just always say yes. If a customer wants something, say yes. And it's so many businesses will be like, no, we don't want to do that. And what they should say is like, think of a number. And this actually is really good career advice as well, guys. If you're ever asked to do a job you don't want to do or move somewhere or whatever it is with work, everything, yes for a price, right? Like, is there some number? It's like, oh, you want me to move to the middle of nowhere and do some job? I mean, first off, you probably don't want to do that, but think about what would you have to get paid? Well, I don't know. If you paid me 5 times what you're paying me now, I could probably take extra vacations, and that would solve my problems, and that would help me save up. I could do that for several years. Yes for a price. Just say yes, and then here's the price. And I hope that is a monetization thing that they do. Unfortunately, again, with games, players will get kind of crazy about stuff and they'll get mad about like having to pay. Sometimes gamers, we as a group will want everything for free. We'll want the world and we want it for 2 cents, and it's a little bit unrealistic. Simon says whole map PvP, whole map PvE for PvEs. Don't cry in different servers. Changes implemented during the public test client testing are marked in blue. Okay, cool. Donates changed made based on player. Oh, okay. A little shaking hand to note changes made based on player feedback. This is actually really helpful. I really like this. I wish this is a really good thing for the communication team to do, for their marketing team to do, or I don't know what does everybody call it? Whatever, the communication team though. This is really good. I like this sort of thing. Sorry, I think the chat is in the way. I don't know if we should move to the other side or something. Would this? No, that's not good. Over here? Is that good? Maybe we do this one. Just go to the Dune stream. All right. Let's see what we got here. For the list of known issues, you can check out the Discord server, Steam discussion boards, etc. Hey guys, and I can't highlight enough how much. Check out Thursday's stream because I think we're going to be talking about a lot of really important stuff. All right, so the highlights: introducing PvE and PvP. Deep Desert instances. All official worlds will now have at least one PvE and PvP instance in the Deep Desert. Haga Basin is now fully PvE across the entire map, including the shipwrecks. Made multiple changes to streaming distances to improve performance and memory usage. That's good to hear. I know the Haga Basin, everything changing into PvE. I know there are a lot of us that are like PvP arenas. Maybe we can talk more about that on Thursday. And if I think they'll listen. That's all I got to say. Altered drop rate of gear at overland testing stations is not heavily favor specific weapons such as Ancient Way and Pyrockets to make the loot drops more fair. This is good. This was a problem. We were getting so many Ancient Ways. It was kind of ridiculous. Reduce the drop rates of less desirable items at overland Imperial testing stations, such as still suit pieces, to prioritize combat-related items. Yeah, this is good. A lot of these changes, guys, like whenever I looked at what they were changing, it doesn't seem like it's massive. We'll have to see over time, but it didn't seem like it was massive. Like, I think they're going to fix the Ancient Way, sure, but some of this other stuff about getting more desirable drops, from our testing, what did we run? We ran probably like 17 times through, which is not enough to get a good sample size for, with 3 people. So what is that? Like 40, 50, times through or whatever. Yeah, that's not enough, but it didn't seem crazy as far as the differences. So we'll just have to see. I think we all have talked about this before. I think we have to keep giving them the feedback that, when we have double drop weekends, it feels good. When they literally double the rate of drops, it feels good. So I wish they would I don't know. I think we need to give them that feedback again. I don't know if they're hearing it. They are going to continue to look at it, but I think we just need to keep giving that feedback so that they understand what we're saying, and that, you know, the issue is bigger than they think. They're making small incremental steps, and it's like, I mean, these are good, but like, dude, you know, if a double drop weekend makes makes it feel okay, then probably needs to be increased quite significantly. So we'll see. The amount of bosses have when fought by groups has been lowered in Overland Imperial testing stations. This was like one of the things they've done to nerf this and to nerf testing stations, and it was like, guys, this is not the problem. Yeah, this was like on my list, but it's at the bottom of a very long list of shit that needs to change. So during the middle of the testing stations, I thought they said this stuff was going to be in blue. I don't know. I don't do colors. I'm colorblind, but I can see colors, but it's never reliable for me, so I don't usually pay attention to them. But they changed this mid-patch. Yeah, they changed this mid-patch. The health of bosses and the number of ads that spawn during boss encounters when fought by groups have been lowered in Overland Imperial testing stations. Oh, okay. Here's the stuff down here, man. But that was something I guess it's not in the overview, maybe. Maybe they didn't, or in the highlights, they didn't. That's why, it's because it's in the highlights. But yeah, they did listen. They also did Fire Station for anybody who didn't get the memo. They didn't have Fire Station in the patch notes, but they also included Fire Station as well. So Fire Station has also been nerfed. I was like, why? Fire Station is the one that needed it the most. They actually did nerf it. It was just a communication thing. I think it didn't get put in the notes. It got left out. So, all right, features and changes, technical and stability. Made multiple changes to streaming distances to improve performance and memory usage. That's also probably going to be important for console peeps. Improve client performance when characters fire ranged weapons. Okay. And this also might be issues when they're firing, when the fire rate was broken on certain things, and you could get 7,000 RPM when it should be, a tenth of that. Reduce frame drop rate when large vehicles are surrounded by many other objects, such as vehicles or placeables. Improve rendering performance based on shield VFX. I just want to say that this stuff can be quite boring, and we're just going to read through it. It's not worth going, talking about a lot. But just as a whole, we keep seeing a lot of technical stability and other changes to the game, and that is very, very good to see. It's good that they're telling us, and it's good that they're working on it, so the game's performance. I know that we meme, and understandably so. We'll meme on, the performance of the game, and they fix one thing and break three things. And there's a bunch of stuff broken as of today, from what I understand. I haven't hopped on for a minute, but did a couple of things, but I didn't check it out too much. But it's still good that they're actively addressing these things, because companies that don't build up so much technical debt that they then don't want to do anything with it. Elder Scrolls Online has been guilty of this. All right, improve vehicle collision detection performance near bases and other vehicles. Improve performance on player journey updates. There have been some problems, I know, with players getting stuck in certain quests and stuff like that. I know it can be pretty frustrating, guys. Various optimizations made to animation and UI. Cool. Vehicles. Vehicle harnessing now ignores other vehicle positioning between the carrier, ornithopter, and the target vehicle and container. This is like an anti-griefing measure. So someone can't skirt underneath there. It seems like it's going to ignore him and then do something with the collision. Probably kick somebody out pretty far. What's up, George? George says, what do you mean? Yesterday I ran the electric station twice and got a Regis triple shot each time, so 100% drop rate. Proof. Yeah. George is memeing on something that we were having during PTS, where people were like, what is the drop rate? Let me go look at the chest to determine if the drop rate has changed. And you're like, dude, you can't look at the chest twice and determine if the drop rate has changed. That's not how these numbers work. You got to do it hundreds of times, my dude. Yeah. I've had that problem, and it's something where I understand that I'm not trying to make fun of anybody for doing it, but it's just it doesn't work like that, guys. And if you want to know how this stuff works, right, flip a coin. You think about a coin should come up heads or tails, 50-50, right? Flip it and just write down what you get each time and calculate the percentage. On the first one, if you get heads, hey, this coin has a 100% chance of getting heads. If you flip it again and you get another heads, then you're like, yep, I flipped it twice. It has a 100% chance of giving heads. Third time, now it's tails. And it's like, well, now it has a 33% chance of getting tails. And it's like, well, that's not true, right? Because we know it's 50-50. So these things can be very misleading. And that's with something very simple. And with only, a binary approach, when you're talking about, things with like a 10% chance of happening, you got to do a lot of tests to be able to figure out what the actual drop rate is. So keep that in mind. All right, updated rules on using the vehicle backup tools modes, preventing, restoring, recovering, and relocating vehicles inside land claims without permission. This seems like an anti-griefing thing, although it could be annoying for some folks if they're trying to, in a friend's base, and they maybe don't have perms, but they want to do it, and they might have to go out. But, it's an anti-griefing thing, I'm sure, to prevent people from doing something like that, because there's some shenanigans you can do with some of that. Like your vehicle can collide with somebody else's and push it out of a base. So if you somehow manage to get in, then you could recall your vehicle inside. I don't know. There's probably some other stuff as well, but just keep that in mind. World building and exploration. Overland Imperial testing stations. Okay, cool. So this was based on player feedback. Feedback regarding the difficulty in testing stations is something we've been observing closely and gathering that it can be much harder when playing as a group. I've been screaming this, guys, and I know other people have as well, and they have listened to us. All right, we want to make the group boss fights more appealing and rewarding to play together. Therefore, we are lowering the amount of HP bosses have with group size. I wish they would quit saying this. It's not the problem. We'll continue to monitor feedback and participation and make adjustments when necessary. Reduce 2-player boss health by 3%, 3-player by 5%, and 4-player by 10%. Okay, all right. This is one they heard us. They heard our feedback, and they changed it during the PTS cycle. Again, I cannot stress, the main game I historically have covered has been Elder Scrolls Online. And Elder Scrolls Online, and this happens with other games too in different stages, right? They ask for feedback, and they're like, oh, what do you think? And it's kind of like building an entire house, okay, and designing it from scratch. And games companies, what they will do, oftentimes they do it as a marketing thing when a game is coming out, right? So they've designed the entire house, custom built house. They've got windows facing certain directions because certain times of year. They've got other features going on, and they've got all this stuff about, how many bedrooms, how many baths, what it's going to look like, what it's going to face, everything else. And then they invite you in, and they're like, hey, we really want to get your feedback on how this house is going to be built because you're going to be living in it. And then they hold up 2 colors, and this one's white and this one's eggshell. Can you tell us which color you like? And you're like, why the fuck is this wall here? Right? That's what, and they're like, yeah, no, we're totally open to feedback. They're not moving that wall. Okay. They've just built the entire house. They're not kicking out that wall. That's how most game companies act. That's not how most game companies should act, but that is how they act. And they try to, they try to pretend like they're going to listen or whatever, but they're never going to. ESO does this where they tell players on the public test server, oh, we're listening to your feedback. Guys, they've already decided what they're going to do. They might modify some numbers a tiny bit, but they're not changing large things. They're not, the whole development process is not designed to do that. That's literally not what they're designed to do. They don't give a shit, and they're not going to. And again, their entire development process is geared towards that. What Dune is doing is not that. And I think it is significant and really important that people know and understand that. They got feedback. Now, we did have to yell a little bit, right? And I have told them, I'll get more specific on Thursdays, but I have told them prior to today in no uncertain terms, like, hey, guys, people are memeing because you don't understand that the boss health is not the core issue. You need to change the number of ads in boss rooms. I am telling you. And Yes, we had to be very direct. Yes, we kind of had to feel like in some ways we're yelling, but they listened and they changed it so that it came out today. Guys, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. That is a company that is listening. Again, we might not get everything we want. We might disagree, right? Like that's fine. But it is a company that is listening. It's not a company that is not listening. It's already just going to do whatever the hell they're going to do and give you the illusion of choice. And usually when companies do that stuff too, what they're really trying to do is like marketing. They're trying to get you to like pay attention to our game. Yes, be concerned with our game. But they're not ever really going to like really listen to you. And that's just a fact. Those are just facts. That is the way this often works and how many companies run. And again, they're like, it's when a game beta tests or not beta tests. Yeah, no, beta tests. When a game like beta tests and they're like, oh, tell us we're beta testing. And you're like, the game is incredibly polished, right? Like there's a few things that aren't quite done yet. But what they're really trying to do is get a bunch of people to come try their game for free, see if they like it and whatever, and then go tell their friends. And then when a game actually does beta testing, other players are like, dude, there's so much shit wrong with this game. And it's like, well, no, this is a real beta test. And the other one's like a marketing beta test, right? Like it's a beta test. It's just marketing. And so you just got to realize these are two different things. What's up, Lord Wraith? Good afternoon to you as well. George Rivera says, serious question now. I tried to vehicle backup tool my scout in a friend's base. I have associate access and got the "you have to be in a land claim you own" message. Is this intended? I don't know what the perm is required to be, George, but I think maybe so. Yeah, because there's not a specific perm for that, right? Which I guess we all know. But yeah. Guys, I ran out of water, and like I said, I ran before, so let me grab water. I'll just be like 2 seconds. I'm gonna kick to a commercial though while I go grab some. I'll be right back. All right, give me 1 sec. Okay, Lord Ray says if he is associated on the fief must also be set to that level to count. Okay, and I also associate should outrank guild. Yeah, I also think that like this is the part. I assume somebody was causing problems. Somebody was like there was some exploit. That's the only reason I can think of them doing this, right? I don't know if another one. And it kind of feels like somebody ruined it for the rest of us. Hey, what's up, Revlush? What's going on, man? Revs, did this jerk just BRBS? I did, man. I did. Listen, man, I need water, man. I live in a desert. I wonder if it's related to players placing vehicle holes in front of people's pentashields to block access. That sounds like it very well could be, Cal. George says there's owner, co-owner, associate, guild, and public. The next up would be co-owner, and I could literally destroy a base by deleting tiles. Yeah, I think there's problems with a lot of those stuff. I'll leave it on associate, but put it behind locked door. Yeah, we the way we do stuff with the guild is we kind of just put everybody as co-owner, but we also keep our guild pretty insular and pretty small, so we trust everybody. I think there was a lot of problems too. It was kind of funny early on. I saw this with some like people that had pretty large communities that came over to Dune from other games and stuff, and then they were like the perms were they were so convinced that they were having problems with theft, and I'm sure some people will or would, but there was we had issues where stuff would go missing early on, and it was because even if you had a locked chest, like the um, certain fabricators would still pull from those chests, and so like if you were making staking units, it would steal people's Solari that was in a chest. And it was kind of like funny. And we were a small like group and we trust each other. So no one was like accusing anybody. We're like, what's going on here? And it turns out we figured out that that's what it was. But other guilds were larger and then also less trusting of each other. And I think some of them like kind of devoured each other because of that and caused all kinds of issues, which like it's a bummer. Like I feel bad for them, but also I don't think it was as big of a deal as it was made out to be, to be totally honest with you. Riv, I'm great, man. I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm doing really well, man. Today's call was great. It was a very positive gaming experience today, which was made me feel a lot better about life in general because I covered these games. All right, what else we got? So adjusted NPC counts, 2 to 4 player group sizes for poison, darkness, and radiation boss encounters. So they did. They did fire as well, guys. They did fire. I've gotten confirmation by multiple people that they also did fire. This is just incorrect. And I think they did fire the same way they did poison, which is appropriate. Just so you guys know, I think somewhere along the way there was some miscommunication. But I've had multiple people. I haven't tested myself, but I've had multiple people say that they tested fire and it's been nerfed as well. On average, 40% NPC reduction for the poison dungeon boss encounter. So what I will tell you is in most of these, on the fire and the poison, the right door, like when you're looking at the entry door and the boss in front of you, the right door will have more ads spawn than the left on certain difficulty levels. And then what you'll find is, like in 3-person groups, you'll have 2 people spawn on the right and then 1 on the left. And then sometimes on the second wave, there'll be a 4th, or there'll be a 2 on the left too as well. So that's what we were seeing. It did seem like it varied a little bit. I don't know if that was intentional or if it's just a little bit buggy, but 3 people, 4 ads. And I think the meta thing to do right now is to keep 1 person on the boss, keep fighting the boss, keep them distracted, stay close to him, hopefully draw aggro, including the fire boss, and then have the other 2 people take care of the 2 ads when they spawn, which is very doable. As long as the person in the middle can keep aggro. I do think there are problems with both of those stations. Fire, periodically, she'll just like shoot off a fireball in a random direction. That's problematic. Poison, you'll have him like line up a knee charge on you and then he'll knee charge somebody else. I don't know how many times I've been taking a butt to the face on the poison boss and then got knocked, but it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. Having someone butt charge you doesn't feel great. So it's something that we got to keep giving him feedback on. Just to give a little bit of context for some of this stuff too, with the testing stations, they told us when they put out all this content that they had to, right, like everything came out and they were thinking PvP in game, and then they found out that most of the players were PvE players, and were very unhappy, understandably, with the lack of in-game content and everything, and they've had to pivot, and they're still pivoting. Okay, to get all the content in Chapter 3, I don't think that it was. I get the impression, I think they've said as much, that it wasn't like part of the original plan. Maybe some part of it or whatever, but what they're doing right now was not the original plan. We know that, right? Like they had a vision and they realized there's some problems with it and they had to do something different. Because again, player concerns and what players wanted, right? And I know that I'm a PvP player, guys. And I know that sometimes we seem to think that we're the only people that exist, but we're not. And the game, they have to do, I think they did the right thing, which is service the the overwhelming majority of their community. And I think there's more PvE players that are still would want to support PvP players and like do stuff together as a group, even if they're not actively PvPing. But we can talk more about that later. But they mentioned how hard they've mentioned in the past how hard they've worked to get Chapter 3 out and stuff like that. I think that it was a lot of work for them to get it out, and I think that it is good. It's cool. It has problems. I would also say that like there are some basic game design features that are not in these instances, and I think we know from these changes that they didn't test this out with groups. Maybe they were busy and it was just something they thought that, let's just like do some math. Like, okay, if you got one ad on a boss and you got with one player, we should be able to add two more mobs for each player that we add. And they just didn't realize that when you have 7 mobs or whatever in a room, it's a little bit crazy on a boss fight where the boss can one-shot you. Again, clear mistakes were made, some bad decisions or whatever. But I think we can kind of see how they ended up at this point. I think with that, some of the core and like basic game design features, like bosses, typically if you have a no aggro system, what you want, this is like basic game design, what you want is a mob to finish their attack, especially if they telegraph the attack, like the knee charge. If the mob starts to look at somebody and starts to go to knee charge, that knee charge needs to finish on that target. And that's not what happens. And it's not just knee charge. Knee charge is just like has the most egregious effect, but it's like every boss. They will suddenly turn and start shooting somebody else. And a lot of times, like the fire boss doesn't even actually turn. He'll just shoot a fireball at you and like from the side. And I think that those are like some basic, programming of these mobs to where like, hey, don't change targets like at a whim, right? Like that's not programmed in. And I think they're going to have to make these systems more robust as they kind of move along. And players will tend to say that we want content to be, I don't want to say perfect, but like we tend to say that we value more polished content, but what we actually show we value is new content. And so games companies have to balance that, right? Players, we will say that we want the content to be balanced, but we also demand new content. And if you look at this from the other side and what players do, giving most of the time, giving players new content is more important than polishing the content you have. I don't want that to be true. I still want polished content. I do think that Funcom will address these things. Like I really do. I think that again, this is the part where like they're going to take longer than we would like to solve some of these problems, but it's not because they're like screw the players or we're not listening or whatever. That's not what's going on. I just want to make that very clear. By all accounts, that's not what's going on. Will some of this stuff not be able to be fixed because of time and money that would need to be spent? Probably so at some point. We just kind of have to and that's also one of the things that we should do a good job, a better job of as players and in general, not necessarily with the Dune community, but is like, hey, here's some shit that really needs to be done. Here's some like stuff that would be nice. And here's some wishful thinking on the edges, because sometimes that wishful thinking is like, oh yeah, we could do that. And they can do it really quickly, right? And sometimes the stuff they're like, oh, it'd be really nice to do. It's like that's a monumental programming task that would cost more money than we can possibly spend on it. Is the kind of thing, because what they have to and this is also something that this is one of the reasons why indie game companies and smaller game companies that are ran by gamers, and what I mean by that is they have either they're the financial person, like in the case of Larian as an independent studio, right? Or they have enough say in the company that they can make choices based on what is good for the game. But what the bigger companies will do, because they're just corporate soulless husks, and the money people are the ones that are ultimately in charge, which is the case with a lot of companies. And Funcom is probably somewhere between on this stuff, guys, because they are owned by a large company. But what you have to look at is like, if we make this change, if we spend this money, what's the return on investment we're going to get from it? And it is very, very hard. And this is actually one of the things that can be very frustrating for me, and I'm sure for you guys as well, someone who plays a lot of games and covers them, is that it is hard for, you call that return on investment, it's called ROI. So forgive me if I use some finance terms. Just the acronym, a lot of companies they cannot draw a line on the ROI of fixing old content to making more money. And with games like Elder Scrolls Online and many other games, right? But Elder Scrolls, it's a game that I know a lot about, and I can talk about it, very confidently. They look at like, oh, we could fix this old trial, or we could use that development time to do something else and add more features. We're going to add more features. Now, that can work for a time, but at some point you're like, okay, you got all this technical debt, all this shit that needs polished, all this stuff that is like problematic, and you've made your players they've been playing for years and having to deal with all this stuff, and they're kind of over it with you, and they're frustrated with you, and now you've lost their trust. And that can cost you a lot. And so what you'll see with independent games companies is they will make decisions that are best for players. Larian has certainly done this in the past, Arrowhead, that are not necessarily financially supported. And what it is understanding, these companies understand. And honestly, I don't even know if they do, actually. They're probably just trying to be people and do the right thing is really probably what it is. But if you want to look at it from the actual business perspective of these people, these finance people, they're thinking short term. And they're not thinking about building up a brand. And so what happens over time, like if these good game companies, right? Good, it's kind of a generic term, but whenever they go to put out a new game, you know what they're going to put out. You know it's not going to be some garbage, right? Unless something is happening, ownership has changed or whatever. And because of that, their future games, their future expansions, all the things they do in the future will have a bigger buy-in, and they will get more people buying in. I don't know what Arrowhead's next game is going to be, but I can promise you I'm buying it. That's what I can tell you. I don't know what Larian's next game is going to be, but I can promise you I'm going to buy it, right? And that's what happens with good games and good game companies. Owlcat, right? Oh, man, I'm so excited for The Expanse. I bought it. I don't know anything about it, but I want it. And it's because I know they're going to make a good game. Even if it's not the exact game that I want, I know that I'm not going to have to deal with a bunch of nonsense because they're going to make a good game. Yeah, okay, let's catch up on these comments. George says, they said the only thing in Chapter 3 that was in the original plan was the story. Okay, thanks, George. Thanks. I was a little bit convoluting like what I had heard today, and I didn't want to say too much. Yeah, okay. So the only thing in Chapter 3 was the original, like in the original plan was the story, which means like after launch, so-called like Q1, by Q3, they had completely changed. And I can say some specific like particulars, but we'll have to wait till Thursday. And that's crazy, right? Like that's a huge change to then put out 4 really fun overland testing stations that we get to play. That's pretty cool, honestly. Like they've done a good job with them. They're not perfect. They've got some issues, but overall the core is like, it's there. So yeah, good kudos to them. I think they've done a really good job with it. Rico Suave says, going over the nerf notes, they just nerfed all the fun out. I personally have zero reason to ever run a dungeon again. What? What are you talking about, man? Nerfed all the fun out. What? Am I missing something? I guess we'll get there. PJK says, I haven't felt all the changes yet, but now I understand that the main meta is shooting at heads. Yeah, I'll have to spend spice on the sabotage branch. I got my crate 5s. I'm glad I did. Yeah, they nerfed the way everyone was using to kill the boss. Oh, a tractor field? I mean, yeah, man. I mean, it was broken and it was doing too much damage, and they nerfed spice prescience. Yeah, so it expires super quick now. Yeah, Ultra says, first try, got triple shot, done, 300 testing stations before the patch. Nothing. Yeah, okay. It wasn't doing much damage. Those bosses are insanely OP. Yeah. Yeah, well, Ultra, I'm glad you finally got it, man. I ran several hundred times myself to get a triple shot, and it was pretty frustrating. Yeah, and now they're just way harder. How are you saying they're way just because the damage has gone down? Something of something with center of mass was overperforming. Yeah, also can't remember how. Yeah, I think it was like double applying all of your buffs. So if you had a buff that would like a skill, a passive or an active skill that would give you 20% damage, and then you put a tractor field on, it would give you 20% more damage. So I think you'd be doing like 42% more damage or 44% more damage. I think is what was happening instead of 20%. Yeah. Now, I mean, yeah, Seed has been always been pretty nice. I know that. Listen, I know that Talith put out that video today talking about the meta. Guys, a shotgun is still going to do very well, and a shotgun is still going to be better for most people because it staggers your opponent. So on bosses that you can CC, like the lightning boss, it's still a good idea, and it's still easy. There's still multiple play styles. I mean, we like I'll get on later on tonight if I can. If not, later on the week, and we'll stream and we'll look at it. But it's not insane. It's really not. I could be wrong, but I really don't think I am. You got to realize that what Talith is, who he's talking to is the sweatiest of the sweaties, who are like, yeah, what is the fastest way to do this? That doesn't mean it's the best way or the only way to do something. Shotguns are still going to be totally fine and actually going to be pretty useful for keeping enemies staggered, you know? So, and like on the fire boss, like a lot of people were using triple shot anyways, already. It's not too bad, to be honest. I've been on the PTC and it was okay. Yeah. I mean, we were on the PTC and I didn't notice any difference really, in a group of 3 or 4. So, I'm not saying there's not a difference. I'm not saying it's not going to take longer and it's not noticeable to people, but I don't think it's the end of the world. I'm going to be honest. Gal says, Shoddy probably safer also because of stagger. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. The stagger on the shotgun is still going to be so, and it makes sense, right? Like it makes sense that the stagger on the shotgun wouldn't be the best weapon. It was already doing too much. Now, maybe we decide that, like, hey, overall, this is still too hard. That's just feedback. We got to run these testing stations, and we got to give them that feedback. Yeah. Drill equal perforator. PJK, what do you mean? What do you mean, man? Because you say drill, and I think drill shot. So I'm not really following you. The fact that we can stagger with the tractor field also helps with groups. Yeah, 100%. Yep. I don't think it matters as much with like larger groups because I think if you have a group of 3 or 4, having someone melee the boss is probably not a bad thing anyways. But yeah, that's all fair. And also with groups, I can tell you with groups, you're not doing headshots. Again, Talith is talking about really sweaty solo players, and like I'm not hating on him for like putting a video title that made sense and got people to click on it. But he's talking about you're a solo player. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. But I'm just saying for a lot of people, it's not going to matter. So it's great for people in groups. Well, it doesn't really, I don't know if it even really matters for people in group. It's still a nerf. Yeah. I mean, I run all these things solo too. Team just a knife for life. All right. So increased cooldown. So yeah, they reduced 40%, 20% on radiation and darkness encounters. I think people were struggling with this, so I'm glad they did it. I didn't necessarily feel these changes were as important, but maybe people weren't using the ancient way like they should. I don't know. Increase the cooldown of the radiation boss NPC spawning ability from 25 to 30 seconds. Cool. So less ads. The health of bosses and the number of ads that spawn during boss encounters when fought by groups have been lowered. Cool. Made tweaks to the first electrical puzzle in Imperial Testing Station 152 with the goal of being less punishing and less repetitive if players play through it multiple times. I didn't ever go look what these are, but it's just like, okay, cool. It just seems like a minor change. I'm not that crazy about it. Oh, you're good, PJK. I figured that. I figured that was the case, man. That's why I just wanted to let you know I wasn't quite following you. No big deal, man. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Yeah. The charge up is a pretty big window to get one shot. Yeah. Rico says I'd love to do melee if that wasn't nerfed to hell over the past year. I need to do. I need to go on my my melee my melee thing. Hey, there's Talith. What's going on, man? People are stressing, man. People are stressing uh, about the like. How do you feel, Talith? I haven't seen your video. I know you released one today, man. How do you feel about the changes to um, like still being able to use shotguns? Do you feel like with the changes to? Do you think it's pretty bad solo? How do you personally feel about it? I'm sure you told us in your video, guys. If you haven't seen Talith's video, he released one today. Go check him out. But you can still use them. Yeah, give me like it's really bad, it's kind of okay, it's whatever. Seed is equal to shotguns now. Okay. Cool. Cool. So not that massive of a deal, really. Yeah. Let me see. I think I lost my yeah, Gal says, yeah, you could charge up in a pretty big window to get one shot. Let me see. Yeah, we're past that. Yeah, I love to do melee. Yeah, I've done some melee, and I thought it was quite fun when I've done melee because my ranged weapon is broken, and I was like on poison boss, and so I was like, I guess we're meleeing this guy till he's dead. Yeah, so there's great risk also. That's fair. I wrote a little bit above that now I don't understand the point of a perforator in Masano's case. Let me catch up, man, because I do want to understand what you're saying. I also still not quite. Oh, I think I missed a comment, man. I'm sorry. I'm still not quite sure how to set Masano's ass on fire. I don't think it's Masano the Burned. I don't think he can. He's always on fire, man. I don't think you can set him on fire. The drill worked well while I was dancing around her. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think you can set her on fire. I think she's always on fire. I think she's immune. Yeah, because you don't even have to worry about dot damage on her either. And then I wrote a little bit above now that oh, you meant perforator. Okay, I understand what you're saying now. Cool. All right, George says, Talith is a great player, and he's way above my skill level. I appreciate his videos and understand his approach. Won't always work for me. Yeah. Talith, yeah, I went to 150. Talith said, I went to testing station 152 first thing, and I could not tell you what they changed. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, my God. Okay, cool. What's up, Dr. Jones? Welcome in. Yeah, and then Talith was just saying, I already read this, but seed is equal to shotguns now. Yeah. Rico says, the only reason I'm playing right now is to build up spice in PvE, DD, and my dailies. Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm sorry, dude. I understand you're pretty frustrated with this stuff, man. I'm not trying to invalidate or be like, your feelings aren't valid. I get that when anything changes that is like, this is the way I was doing it. Now it's been changed. It is frustrating. Yeah. Speak of the devil, yeah. Most players only have 50% uptime on a tractor field anyways. Yeah, I'm one of those players, man. I got a full spice bar. I've got like 75, spice liquor in my inventory, and I still don't pop spice. And I could have swapped out Battle Hardened, but I just forgot or wasn't paying attention. And then also, too, like it's not always the perfect time to put out the attractor field, and then you miss your window or whatever. If you're not running it a lot, and you're like kind of screw up that window, happens. Yeah. Rico says, I do melee for dungeons, just not the bosses. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Fairly useless against bosses. Dude, I did feel like it was horrible on Poison Boss, Dark Boss, and Lightning Boss. I don't feel like it's horrible. I mean, I don't think you can do it on Radiation. That's not happening. Yeah. That's just not happening. I don't know. I'm sure somebody could maybe do it somehow, but yeah, not a good idea. And also not a good idea on Fire Boss, Masano or whatever. Like, yeah, I get that. But the other three, I think it's fine. Yeah, I haven't tried it on fire. I can only imagine, but it seems like it would be a cluster. Plus, she's going to shoot at you point blank, and it's AoE. Like, it's going to hit you, and you're going to burn to death, right? It's probably not very fun. I wouldn't do it there. Okay, where are we here? Altered drop rate of gear and testing stations to not heavily favor specific weapons such as the Ancient Way. We already knew about that. And then reduce the drop rate. Yeah, we already read those. Okay, cool. Guys, I think we got to keep giving them feedback on this. I will do my best. I want to make a little short video to just kind of quickly talk about the few things that need to be changed, but I would like to test them out some more and give that, I tested some stuff out on the PTS, but we just got to give them more feedback and just help them understand, because I understand that it's perplexing on some of this stuff, like how they didn't understand. I told them I thought it was embarrassing for them. People were memeing on stuff that they didn't know, they didn't understand. It's like, how do you guys not know this? How do you guys not understand this? Like, it's we're trying to tell you, we're screaming at the top of our lungs here. So yeah. Anyways, hopefully they will continue to listen. Sorry, I was blowing this up a little bit. Let me see if I can't even get it. Is it going larger? There we go. There we go. Let me see. Is that too large? No, that's actually fine, huh? Cool. Someone did Fireboss with a las gun. Yeah, well, that used to be the thing, man. But then they nerfed the damage they were taking, and then also like las guns will take a lot of durability damage from that, so it's kind of harsh because they're pretty useful. Can't melee only on fire. She'll set you on fire way too fast. Your damage isn't high enough to push her face to be able to bandage before the dot ends. And yeah, definitely had that experience. All right, cool. Oh, increase the chance to get additional schematic drops in testing station loot. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what this is like. Hopefully it's the loot is improved. We'll have to test it out and then let them know. I imagine that it is not good enough because it was pretty bad. So I don't know if they unless they like YOLO'd it on changing these loot drop rates, like it's probably not good enough for me and for most of you guys. Store journey and new player experience. Okay, reduce the waiting times for the arena and the Art of Canley by increasing the number of instances available. That was kind of annoying. I'm glad they fixed that for people. Deep Desert and Landsrad introduced PvE and PvP Deep Desert instances. All official worlds will now have at least one PvE and one PvP instance of the Deep Desert. I don't know what you guys are doing. We have a base in both is what we're doing for right now, because we have a lot of people that are only PvE. And then I think when we go get Spice, it's going to be a new event. I think what we are going to do is probably what we'll do is we've got a base in A, and probably what we'll do is take out a carrier with a cargo container. Inside the cargo container will be the mats we need to build a temporary base, as well as the parts for the crawler. We'll get near the Spice, build the base with just like a shell and a pentashield, put some storage in there, and then we will go harvest and probably go back and forth harvesting to dropping and filling up the cargo container, and do that until we're done. And then we'll break down the crawler, grab the cargo container full, and then go back to PvE. And we'll probably leave the base, but expect it to get destroyed. And probably break down like some of the materials in there or something, like not leave, a bunch of plastanium chests or anything. But I think that's probably what we're going to do. But we'll have to see, and it should be, I don't know, hopefully there'll be some fun to be had. I think they're looking to see what's going to happen with PvE, right? But I don't think that this 2.5 yields is going to be enough. I think that what PvP areas need, and what was so great about PvP early on, is that the best gear was there. And so you wanted to, and not saying it needs to be the only place to get the gear, but we wanted to go do the testing stations. A lot of people are like, oh, PvP and Dune is now just like flying around and shooting each other in thopters. And I understand that that's where it's at. There's no reason to fight on the ground. But early on, we spent a ton of time at testing stations, running them, going back and forth between them. And you would get to a testing station and somebody else was running it, and they were about to take that loot, and that was your loot. So you would wait for them to finish, or you'd either hit them inside if you thought you could catch up to them, Or if they were almost done, you just wait by the exit. And it's like, all right, try to get by. I guess you could try. And you never knew who had the loot, and it made for really, really fun situations. And more often than not, we ended up fighting in the testing station. We've had 3 groups at a testing station before. I was usually either solo or with one other, at the most 2 other people, and oftentimes would have to fight outnumbered, and with PVE mobs in the lock-in rooms, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. Honestly, fighting in testing stations and doing some of that stuff, some of the most fun I've had in gaming. Excuse me. So what we want in PvP, I think not even what we want. I think what we need. So sometimes you find PvP. Sometimes there's nothing going on. What the testing stations allowed us to do is you go to the testing station because you want to do the testing station anyways, and you want the loot. And then you run into somebody and you get to PvP and fight over the loot. And that was incredibly fun and incredibly rewarding. The same thing with the down ships. You go into a down ship, or you come up to one. Is somebody there? Are they just about to leave? I could grab the loot from them. If I kill them, if they're about to leave or whatever. The thing is, you had active things that you wanted to do in the PvP area, and then you got to PvP. Right now, with these extra yields, first off, no one's going to be doing Plastanium. I don't think that's going to be happening. I think you might as well just farm that up in the PvE areas. There's really no reason to do it. You're honestly giving yourself probably more work by doing it. And then when you talk about spice, you'll probably do what I just explained, but none of that gives you a reason to just be out in the PvP area very often. You're really just going to do a thing. And so there's not going to be, and I think I need to probably provide that feedback. We do as a community too. But yeah, I don't think that the 2.5 harvest rates, I think that we need higher, I think we need graded gear drops in the PvP areas, and other things to cause us to want to go out there and do stuff. Yeah. Yeah. What's up? Theory Carver says, can't melee only on fire. Oh yeah. Sorry. I think we already read that. She'll set you on fire. Yep. Landry, what's going on? I hope they don't put gear in PvP stations. They just got away from forcing PvP. They can't go back to it. I'm not talking about putting gear only in PvP stations, man. I'm talking about putting useful gear. So putting graded gear in PvP stations. I'm not saying make it only available there, but it needs to be available there. Like I'm not saying making PvP exclusive. I'm saying there needs to be things. Because right now, like, why would you go to a testing station in the DD? You're gonna get grade 0 gear. So there's no point in doing it. That's what I mean, man. Theory Carver says, I want the control points back, but give me some reward for defending or attacking control point. I would like the control points to come back and have a constant way, a constant reason to want to fight over them. I really didn't like that you could win it for a week and lock it down, and then there was no point in going back out there. I would like it to be I would like to be able to constantly go and try to grab a control point. I think that is what I would like to see, because then there is a reason to be out there and continually doing stuff. It's not like, oh, the guys that don't work on Tuesdays go claim all their control points, and then if you come out there on Thursday, there's nothing to do. Or on Friday or Saturday when you really have time, there's nothing to do for most people. Let me see. Simon says you have 2 options, PvE or PvP at 5 a.m. and win 2x. Yeah. P says, big agree on testing stations PvP being the most fun had in gaming ever, and also the reason I decided to get better at the game instead of just quitting after filling boxes. Yeah, well, I would add to that like actually that my favorite thing in Dune right now, or was, I'm sorry, because it's not right now, was mining. I loved mining in a buggy in PvP, and I just don't think there's any incentive to actually do that anymore. I just don't think there is. And I don't know how they solve that problem, but I mean, honestly, probably should combine this feedback. I will tell you guys, on the PvP front, I think that what we need to do is continue to rally the community. And I'm going to be honest, the people that have been hating on, the people that were like killing people trying to farm spice early on, that didn't want to be PvPing did a huge disservice to themselves and the PvP community. They drove those people away, and they made those people super pissed off and getting in the comments and giving feedback that the worst thing about the game was the forced PvP at endgame, which it was a problem. But we as players could have prevented that from happening. Not us, but like the people that chose to continually grief and kill people in PvP that did not want to be PvP'd. I think that I honestly think that I know that they actively killed PvP in the game. That's the reality of the situation. People that are trying to encourage healthy PvP that is not just hating on PvE players are the people that are saving PvP. Those are facts. Those are not opinions. That is the reality of what is going on right now. Just so you guys know, those are facts. That is not my opinion. That is an absolute fact. And what we're trying to do on the Anvil, and I'm happy to help on any server I can, guys. If you have a PvP event going, I would love to come out there and shoutcast it or just like talk about it, promote it, whatever we can. But we need those things, and we need to get the people that are PvP adjacent, right? Like we have people in our guild that are very happy going out and farming in the PvP areas. They're not going to PvP. But we need to like teach people. We're doing a tournament in a couple of weeks. I actually need to make an announcement about it. I ran out of time today. We actually got some great artwork done, actually. Did I show you guys this yesterday? I feel like maybe I did. But I'll show it to you now. And we've got signups and stuff going on. And the whole purpose of this particular tournament, PvP tournament, is to it's to like let players come and learn. It's a PvP tournament. I'm going to give away, or we're going to give away a million gold to everybody who even joins. And on the small server we're on, that's a lot of Solari. So we want people to come and just learn and just like have an experience and understand that it doesn't have to be a bad experience for you. And that is what will save PvP. And we need to get what the company is going to need moving forward and has in the past but wasn't getting it. It needs players to be doing that thing to justify spending money on it, right? That's what happened. The game came out, it was mostly PvE, then there was this PvP in game, and a lot of the people, like a lot of the hardcore players and a lot of people that would beta test were like, yeah, PvP, this is what we've been doing, it's amazing, it's awesome. And then a lot of the PvE players were like, I don't want a PvP at all. Why am I being forced to do this? Why can't I get the best mats in the game? Et cetera, et cetera. And then what a lot of them chose to do, and a lot of them were creators, is they hated on PvE players that didn't want to be in PvP. And again, that just makes people yell louder that they never want a PvP. And what happens when you have a big portion of the community screaming at the top of their lungs that they don't want to have anything to do with PvP? The company, and they're the majority of players, the company has to pivot and they have to do something different, And so what we need to do is like develop healthy, fun PvP for everybody and not just, hate on PvE players. I hope it was fun for those people. Thanks for running it for the rest of us, Like that's the reality of what has happened. Let me catch up on some of these. Sorry, I went on a rant there. Let me see. Overland map is okay, Brian says, but it makes the game a lobby. Having the dungeon entrances in the TD, even if instance, would be awesome. Rika says, I think the Rust players in the term is the term you're looking for. It needs to be organized PvP, not the Joel Vision branded EVP, I think. Yeah, dude, I don't think what Joel had was wrong. I think the problem is there are some players who didn't want to engage with it and they were forced to. And so that's what caused so much of an uproar. It was a big mistake on their part. But I think that then PvP players continuing to just wreck PvE players that wanted nothing to do with PvP. And that was the only way they could get the highest tier mats, which they all wanted. And then they would go wreck those players, and then they'd be like, whatever, man, they're in a PvP zone. I can do whatever I want. It's like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. The consequences of your actions are now, though, that the game is different than it would have been. Could they have saved it? Could they have, like, if they would have been encouraging to PvE players, been like, yeah, this is a problem. We're not going to hate on people that are PvE players until they get this fixed. Would things have turned out differently? I think it's very likely so. Would it have been perfect? Would it still have worked out? Who's to say? But I think things would have been different. But either way, from starting now, right now, what we should be doing is trying to encourage PvP in a way that is fun and engaging for everybody. That's what we should do. If we want more PvP, that's what we should be doing. So that's what I will be doing, just so you guys know. All right. What do we got now? So Haga Basin, yeah. Increased drop rates for non-combat uniques in the deep desert, so that there's a higher chance to get the schematics, not available in the overland map dungeons. Yeah, so this is to encourage us to want to go out there, which is something, but probably not enough. Updated all Landsrad missions receipts to only appear in the crafting menu when charges are available. Just a quality of life thing. Reduce the amount of fiber around the wreck of the Taiki. Yeah, that one's. We memed on this one pretty hard for a while. A couple of people did in chat at least. The maximum distance to which the red vibration meter will show in the deep desert is increased from 500 to 1,500 to 1,500 meters. Giving players more time to react to approaching worms triggered by other players further away. Cool. Nerf the plant fiber. They didn't need those mats. All PvE content could be played without everything dropping in the zone. They promised from the start a desert with fight for resources. All PvE content could be played. Yeah, you're missing the point, Peace. People keep saying this same thing over and over again. It's missing the point. It's the highest tier gear. Everybody wants it. End of story. Saying, "Oh, you don't need this to complete that," that's not a good response, man. It's missing the point. It was the highest tier stuff. Why would they not be able to get that? Why would they have to fly around in a slow thopter instead of a fast one? Right? Why would they not be able to kill enemies as easily and as quickly as PvP players? Right? Like, it was always a problem, man. I think they changed it because the IP owners looking at Conan, you can see what kind of game they actually want to make. I don't think that's true, man. I think that's not true, man. Wait, they actually took the time time and effort to nerf plant fiber. Yo, that's goofy AF. Since the rest of the game is 6 months behind. It probably didn't take very much to nerf that plant fiber, and it probably took a team that is not as stressed. But yes, we've all been. Yeah, man, it is funny. It is a weird look, and continue to meme on it. The plant fiber was the problem. Let's continue, but it's fine. It's kind of funny. Why buy the game if you know that's the premise? They didn't know that was the premise, man. And the first 99% of the game is not PvP. So, yeah, you're gonna continue to blame other players, man. You're kind of like a bad developer. I'm sorry. That's just. Like, we could talk about the frustrations, but it's like blaming other players is really not. It's not a productive thing to do typically. Yeah, because the game is 90%, 99% PvE before the deep desert. It was a huge mistake on the developers, part, and also why did no one tell them? I don't know. I didn't get in on the beta. Why was that feedback not given? Was it given? I don't know. Was it given and not listened to? I don't know. But yeah, I don't think it's the game that they want to make. And I think, in fact, it's the opposite of that. I think the reason that the DD was PvP is because they wanted, we know that. They wanted it to be PvP at the end. Several of the developers, when they've done the live streams, man, they're PvP players, man. for their actions, not for their feelings about the game. Uh, Again, you can do whatever you want, man. But if this is every PvP game ever. You can grief other players if you want. You're gonna drive. This happens, man. This is like a story we've seen many, many times over. I mean, is it really that fun to kill someone who's just trying to farm spice and who just stands there whenever you attack them? Like, why buy the game? Like, you're encouraging. I don't know, man. It's hard. I'm struggling to. I feel so much strongly, like, differently than you do, that I'm trying to find the middle ground for us. And yeah, maybe I am, dude. Maybe I am blaming players too. But I think we're talking about two different things. Yes, but the reason they're listing here is that they don't own the IP. I could be wrong, Peace, but I have seen no evidence of that. And I do you have evidence of that? Is, I guess, my question. Or is that just like, this is what it feels like to you? What's up, House Erebus? Yeah, dude, I'd love to see some survival stuff too, man. Let me catch up on these chats, though. PvP servers in Conan were hella broken and only functional on private player admin servers. Official PvP Conan servers were a joke. Okay. I don't know. Gal, I appreciate the feedback or the info. I don't really know what to do that because I didn't play those, so I don't really know anything about it. You'd have to tell me more. But yeah. Mir says if nerf only visible the non-amount of it. So that's regard to Yeah, I think we're talking about the plant fiber there. Farmer hunting is PvP. Yeah, dude, isn't PvP. Oh, okay. I was like, I mean, it is PvP technically, yeah. I think the problem is the game was broken. The game was not in a state that made sense. And you had folks like Echo who would continue to kill people just farming spice sand out there hand compacting. And listen, I've done it too. And then I realized that person couldn't defend themselves at all. And also and that's recently. Back when all this happened, we realized that the people that were out there just farming spice, just farming spice sand by hand, like we knew that they had to go out into PvP and they didn't want to. And so what we did on the server that I was on is we didn't generally mess with those people. And then I and other people ran security for those people so that they could go out there and farm the tier 6 resources. And that was fun. We got to engage in PvP, but there's a lot of people that wanted nothing to do with it. And there were a lot of other people that were on the fence, but then they go out there and they're farming and they just get wrecked and they have no answer. All the farming, their time is wasted, their ship is blown up, and it sucked. And, it just takes a little bit of empathy to realize that that's not a good idea and it's not good for the game. And instead, what people decided to do was have zero empathy for other players and to just be like, well, I can do what I can do. And it's like, yeah, you can do what you can do. But then the end result is where we're at now, which is PvP being, way shelved. It's just a consequence of actions, man. That's just what it is. Look at their other game, Conan. Yeah, so it's controlling the resource spice. Yeah, so there's no like evidence of that. It's just how you feel. Yeah, I have evidence to the contrary, is what I would say. PvE and PvP players are the two factions in game. Survival players are the third faction. Fremen, dude, I wish Fremen would be added to the game. What's up, Looper? Looper says, "Oh damn, started 101 minutes ago. I was hoping I'd get here on time." Yeah, man. Sorry, I started a little bit earlier today than I normally do because I actually have to go here in a little bit. So we'll try to get through these notes, and then hopefully I'll be able to be on later to try out some of these testing stations. But that's why we went earlier today. I'm just saying that if the leaders of the PvP stuff had acted better, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. And that's just true, man. That's just true. Yeah. And again, on some servers, that's what happened. Yeah. It's controlling the resource spice, which is supposed to be different from everything else in the game. Now it's the same as everything else. Nowhere to feel like the true vision of Dune, which was sold to us when buying the game. Yeah, I mean, you're not like I understand where you're coming from, Peace. Like I really do, man. I do. I think the problem is what you would like to have, and then intersecting with what is possible with game design. Your frustrations, man, in that regard, 100% valid. I don't have any good news to tell you about it. Like your frustration is 100% valid. I totally understand that perspective, man. I really do. Yeah. Just to be clear. Yeah. And I'm sorry, man. I know it does suck. And I know that for a lot of us, and I'm a large part of this group, I love the danger. And every time they have to change and take away some of that danger, it sucks and it feels bad, you know? So I'm with you on that. And I can tell you again for a fact that the game developers do not want to take out that danger, man. They do not. I can tell you again for a fact, they do not want that, you know? Yeah. Let me see. Nowhere to feel like the true vision of Dune, which was sold to us when buying the game. Yeah. Cal says Conan Exiles, PvP servers never worked. It was just abusers, hackers. No one stayed on the official PvP servers, but you couldn't do or make anything ever. Players would break your base and camp you. Cool. So players being just complete douchebag, or people being complete douchebags. That's great to hear. All good. I'll catch you on stuff sometime later. All right, Glooper. Yeah, man. House Airbus says, in terms of IP, they signed an agreement with Legendary to publish 3 games. No word on third one at the moment. Spice Wars was the first game. When they announced a 10-year plan, I assume this is the license minimum duration. Yeah, that makes sense. Pieces, it's cool. Just sad I lost a game that offered the best feeling had in a game. Well, that's the thing, man. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that, you know, you need to, I'm sorry. Jensine, or is it Bissy? You do pronounce the E in game. I'm sorry, man. Do you not? So don't call you Peace. I'll probably go with, is Bissy pronounced right? Like you got to spell it phonetic for me. I'll probably do that because it's always on my screen. I don't know if I'll remember that you prefer to be called Jensine. I hope you can understand that. I try to always remember everybody's name, but like there's actually a friend that I've known for years, and his YouTube name is different than I know him everywhere else, and I always forget Sideswipe. If Sideswipe pops in, I always forget. Okay, Peace is cool. Okay. Sideswipe comes in, like I always forget that I know him and have known him for years. I just don't associate the two accounts. Yeah. It does feel bad now flying around the DD, building my base in F-row, not looking over my shoulder. Didn't actually seek players in PvP, but the possibility was thrilling. Yeah. Holes, it's been years, buddy. Hey, Soul Holes. Hey, what's up, Holes? I actually missed that comment too. Let me see. Should be more like EVE Online, a lot of more resource trades and more survival. Yeah. Dude, I would love to see a lot more survival elements too. They've told us they have plans for it. I don't know what they're planning, but they told us they have plans for it. That Mooster says, sounding very preachy, my dude. PvP was one of the reasons I bought the game. The DD was always meant to be a place where we fought over resources. That's the game I was sold and bought. Yeah. Did you play Mooster in beta? Hall says, yeah, hey, pinned. Okay, cool. You guys are catching up. Do you still in all the water in the DD? All right. Him and Looper is chatting. Yeah, it wasn't about PvP. It was about the value of the resources achieved there. Okay, Jensine in the server. Okay. Okay. So are you on the anvil? Yeah, +1 to Mooster. Dude, I am preaching a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Knight, I tried the PvE DD and it felt weird, dude. Neat idea, but it felt off. I went straight to the PvP DD, not because I craved PvP, because I felt more normal. Yeah, not in beta, no. Yeah, man, I just think a lot of people felt the other way is the deal, you know? And again, like, it sucks that the developers didn't have the game more secure, and so a bunch of cheaters came in and did what cheaters do, which ruined a lot of fun for people. It sucks that they made the big mistake of thinking that people were going to be happy. I mean, I played 200 hours of solo PvE content before I got to the DD. And it sucks that they didn't realize that people were going to do that, and then all of a sudden going to be like, wait, why do I have to PvP now? It sucks. It's their fault, right? I'm just saying, like, you gotta look at the situation you're in, and I can tell you what I want for Dune. Listen, I'm a gamer. I'm gonna be playing games for years to come, and so what I plan on doing is trying to continue to grow the PvP community, and I wanna get people that wouldn't PvP into PvP. I would like to get that majority of people in the middle. I want them to come to PvP and have a good experience. And because I am invested for the long term. And I will tell you this, I am not frustrated with the players. I am frustrated with the content creators who encourage people and who influence people to think that it's okay to treat people however they want without regards to the consequences, and then be pissed off when the consequences happen. That's who I'm at. That's who I'm mad at. And I am literally mad. Like, I'm not super pissed off. We can all still be friends, but it is like, I am mad. It is frustrating, and it sucks because now I don't get to do the thing, which is PvP, that I most wanted to do. And that's, and it's the developer screwed up 1,000%. It absolutely is their fault, but I'm also frustrated. I'm more harsh on people that make content because I make content, man. Just like all of us, right? You could be more harsh on people that are inside your community, you know? Enough have 200 hours on PvP in the game. We'll be full PvE. Do it offline at the start. Yeah. You got Nameless jumping in PUD. Your moves are working. Oh, where's Nameless? Did I miss Nameless? Oh, he's jumping into chat right now. Or did I miss his comment? What up, Nameless? Cool. Let me see here. Where are we at? So P said, I don't even want PvP. I want a place where the best resources are in a place where I can be attacked and attack others competing for the same resources. Yeah, man. Dude, what's crazy, man? I know we're arguing about some stuff. I'm sorry if I offended you. I might have overstepped. I was triggered by some stuff too. What I would say, man, is like we actually agree on most of this stuff, though. We enjoy the same thing. Yeah, not a stupid arena style. I'm with you, man. I'm with you 100%. That was that. I'm telling you, farming nodes in with a buggy was the most fun I had in the game. Yeah. I played solo also. Mooster said I solo farmed Spice in the DD. Always had a gun and rocket launcher on me. People go out farming naked and then cry. Again, man, like I'm on the same page. I did the same thing. I always had a rocket. I was always ready to fight. If someone came at me, I was fighting. I will say now, someone can kill you farming Spice, and there's no counterplay to it. And I think that's not fun, which is unfortunate. You're just playing hide and seek. But if they find you, or if you and you don't see, like, they can just come up and you're dead before you can do anything. Oh no, his first bit of dogfighting was because of me. Okay. Oh, because I killed him. Gal says I have zero issues with people getting a chance to resource and gear up before they PvP, then have the ladder pulled up by sweaties and locked out. Yeah. He got excited to learn and jumped in. That's awesome. Yeah, and for those who don't know, what we've done on the Anvil, and we've done this for a long time, is like We give away, we'll give away stuff, man. We'll give away crawlers, we'll give away carriers, we'll pull security for people so that they can get into tier 6, and then we get to PvP together. And that's the kind of stuff that we need more of in the game right now. And we need it in other servers so that other people could be like, oh no, PvP is really fun. Let's go out to the PvP part of the DD and enjoy and engage with this. But it doesn't need to be, listen, I play games for a living, guys. I'm better than most people that I play against, okay? I don't go over there and wreck them and then act like a complete asshat. That is not good for the game, okay? Do I go kill them? Hell yes. Am I excited to kill them? Yes. Do I kill them a second and third time? No. Do I ruin their day if I can help? Like if I can help it? No. Like I killed somebody in the one of my friends is like, oh, I hope it wasn't this person because they're brand new, and I was like, I checked my logs and I was like, that's exactly who it was. We had them come to our base. They were farming spice. We filled them up with spice from our stores and sent them on their way. Right? Like that's the kind of stuff we need, because that's what we need to grow PvP. I'm not saying because that's what we want, but that's what we need. And then if we get more people playing PvP, then when we ask the developers for stuff, we can actually get it, guys. And that's what I'm saying. I want to play the long game, and I'll talk about this more on its own stream. But that's what I'm saying. That's what we need. All right, we're way off topic. Let's get back on, because I think we're like getting kind of argumentative and stuff like that too. Let me finish. We'll read some comments, then we'll move on. This game desperately needs organized PvP. I would love an arena and just simple player versus player duels. I love those too, man. I think they're really fun. I like all aspects though. Looper says Anvil, in my opinion, is one of the best servers I've heard of or been a part of. That's awesome to hear. P says it was also a reason to engage in socializing, so you could have guards and friends to play in the deep desert with. Yeah, I just don't understand why the players who complain are at highly populated servers if they just want a solo PvE experience. Well, I think some of them were just on whatever servers, man, and it's only recently you've been able to switch servers too. I don't think that being able to switch servers is so recent. I don't even think that's factored into everything else. I mainly PvE, but I would engage in PvP when we had control points. It was fun. I hope they added something similar later. Some type of open event PvP in the DD. Yeah. Seed Master Race, Lobo says. What's up, Lobo? All right. There's some interface stuff, and there's a lot of bug fixes, resources, building, and crafting. Let's see. Fixed an issue where the observer hatch door. Okay. Fixed an issue with placeables, power and water. This is just a lot of combat fixes. What do we got combat fixes? Let's see what they got. Fixing an issue where crippling strike target would jump or use Bindu's sprint ability and cancel the crippling strike effect. Okay. Fixing an issue where the target affected by the magnetic attractor receive extra damage if the attacker had the center of mass perk equipped. Targeting abilities that would... Isn't targeting messed up? I've heard reports that targeting is messed up. Targeting abilities would sometimes fail to target NPCs. Should now always work. That was a tractor field. Probably others. Fixing a bug causing the effect of certain skills to not apply after logging out and back in again. Fixed an issue where upgrading an activable ability that is currently slotted would not initialize the new cooldown or cost properties before re-slotting the ability. Okay, just a bug fix. Taller NPCs can now reliably aim down towards when attacked with melee. Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that was an issue. Fixed an issue that caused camera rotation to get stuck after swapping weapons at the same moments as getting staggered. Fixed an issue that allowed high-grade drill shots and their unique variations to deal significant shield damage. Okay. I didn't actually know that was... As noted on their info cards, the burrow darts do not damage shields, but rather strive to bypass them. Yeah. I need to play with some high... I need a high-tier ambition. I still never got one. Fixed an issue with health kits were sometimes not consumed after triggering healing. Yeah, that was just fine. Not a big deal. Fixed an issue where spice residue can be used infinitely by exiting and re-entering an overland map testing. Oh, I'm sorry. I said spice residue. Spice prescience. Okay. Cool. And I think spice prescience has been broken on PTS, so I don't know if that went live and it's causing problems now. Okay, thank you, Lyriel. I was actually about to hop off. Um, cool, cool, cool. What do we got? We got some name calling. uh, Heremidor. Um, Care Bears versus PvPer debate will never end. The game was built terribly from the start when Haga was safe and was 90% of the game. Then DD comes along and alienates all the PvE players in Haga, if Haga had. Well, maybe you weren't trying to name call. It doesn't sound like. I don't mean to. It is a little bit name calling, but I don't think you were trying to clearly by your message. It will never end. Yeah, I mean, I just think that we want to move past it is the main thing. That's what I'm looking for, is to like, what are we going to do now? Theory Carver says, I liked joining alliances, supporting larger guilds, and having the benefit of those large guilds supporting me because I supported them. Yeah. Same, but there's no reason for that now. Yeah. Yep. Anyone experiencing an issue with compel failing? I think there's an issue with all targetable skills, Gribbly. I think there's several things they broke. I think it's another one of these where they broke a bunch of shit and fixed some other stuff. Yeah. Been PvP from the start. It would have set expectations properly. Agree. Absolutely agree. Yeah, and I think that's the big problem that was the big mistake they made. It's mostly caused by target. No, I think there's problems with targeting. It's caused by a target that has a dot on it. Huh. Micah has been landing fine, but I've heard some people mentioning that. Okay, so there's some sort of weird behavior going on. Yeah, sometimes when changing between weapons fast, sometimes used to cause the camera aiming went crazy and was annoying. Yeah, shotguns were also a problem. It was always the shotgun for me. Nerf fix on the attractor field really hurt my gameplay. I'm redoing my build now. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm testing a Seed build with my BF since he's way better at headshots than me. It can be hard to do that in a group, too. But I guess if you're both doing headshots, it's pretty tricky to do two headshot setups in a group. I think the compel issue is with spawned enemies only. Oh, okay. Not enemies that are spawned from the dungeon. Interesting. Vehicles. Fix the issue where the buggy mining turret was not functional after the vehicle recovery. Fixing the issue where harnessed vehicles would get stuck in midair. Some previously lost vehicles will be sent to recovery, mainly vehicles that have been lost due to server crash, right after restoring the vehicle from backup or recovery. Okay, fixed vehicle relocation, wrongly repairing vehicle durability. Oh, that's funny. That'd be nice. Fixed several issues with vehicle abilities triggering unintentionally or stopping working when spamming exit vehicle. Okay. I've had problems with... Yeah, I've had some weird problems going on. Fixed an issue with the vehicle ability that sometimes caused them to work erratically when exiting or landing vehicles. Fixed an edge case that would lead to vehicles becoming not interactable. That's the issue I've had. Ornithopters now automatically leave vulture mode when a travel request. Oh, this is cool. Pops up at the edge of a map. That's great. I forgot about that one. Fixed ornithopter vulture mode, not losing speed when gliding upwards. RIP. This is pretty cool. You could do some fun things in PvP. Fixed issues with the vehicle limit check sometimes did not work correctly after travel. Prevented vehicle modules from getting duplicated when disassembling a vehicle while it is on quicksand. Oh, that's funny. Fixed customization swatch application when using unique armor pieces. Fixed customization appearing on the main menu and server browser. Cool. Fixed an issue that reduced augment drop rates on some difficulty levels. Okay. So we weren't getting as many augments, maybe? I heard that I'm still using the triple shot, but I'm switching a tractor field for something else. Only thing is that I used to be able to clear radiation tier 19, and now I can barely finish it. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like... I mean, that was it seems like that's been a problem for a lot of people. These nerfs have made things... I think that they just need to nerf some stuff, man. It's kind of what it sounds like, you know. Yeah, it is unfortunate, guys. It like again, Talith was just in here. He might still be here. Okay, I'm sure I imagine he's very clear in his video. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but just because one thing is meta, shotguns and triple shots are still very good. Okay, the seed is performing like the shotgun is what he told me. Okay, so it's okay. Most of these things are going to be fine. And then I know that it has been hard, but yeah, we'll just have to give them feedback. It is very frustrating to me that it's taking them so long to come to a place where these testing stations are good. It sucks and I'm not happy about it, but we just got to keep giving feedback until they get there. They are still listening for whatever that's worth. But yeah, we need to keep testing stuff out, get good feedback, and then keep on target. We need to let them know. Let them know in the feedback channels. Yeah, it was fun. Sad they take away the fun glitches, but keep the problematic ones. Yeah, most games ever. I don't know if you want to spam it. I still think you probably want a triple shot, man. And then use the ancient way to clear out the mobs. I don't think the ancient way by itself does enough damage. Yeah. Fixed an issue. Yeah, drop rates. Fixed a bug issue preventing tactical radiation shoot from dropping in testing stations of a higher difficulty. This was unclear to me. Does this mean that the tactical radiation suit is graded and should have been graded? Because that's how I read this, but they didn't say that specifically. Fixed an issue where small shipwrecks had some occurrences of them crashing on rock islands. Okay, fixed an issue that would leave players stuck in the room after... I never saw that. Fixed an issue that would leave some players stuck in the room after completing Destination 136. I had that happen once. It sucked. Fixed player stuck location inside the Forgotten Lab. Fixed the ceiling gap in Testing Station 10 that would allow players to go out of bounds. Fixed the hole players would get stuck in between Jabal Ifrit and Haga Rift. Cool. And then we've got store, journey, and new player experience. Cool. We're just going to get a lot of bug fixes and stuff here, I think. Got some Landrad fixes. Landrad fixed an issue where unrelated rewards would briefly show when viewing rewards as a Landrad. Yeah, this was annoying. Fixed the case where some Landrad missions was offered repeatedly. Fixed an issue where the people were exploiting this. Fixed an issue where a Landrad mission could be shared repeatedly with another player. I would like to know exactly what this changed because this was actually kind of nice. And then we got a ton of UI changes that I don't think I'm going to go all the way through. Yeah, rip spamming lands. That's what I'm worried about, man. That's what I'm worried about. Or any of the missions, like the testing stations too. Although now you can jump between them a lot easier since you can do group testing stations easier now. So just want to spice run, fill up the assault Thopter quickly with the MK6 compactor. Yeah, Demon, I heard that a lot of people were like filling it up crazy quick. Like 5 minutes to fill up an assault. Yeah, triple shot on boss and ancient way on ads. Now I was thinking on trying out the Pyrocket to apply burns to ads. Halls, I would encourage you to try it out, man. I have tried it out. It doesn't work, man. I've tried the flamethrower. I've modded them. They don't work. It's ancient way all the way. But I mean, try it out. It could be fun, man. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work. It's worth the stress. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. It's fast. It's fast and it's worth the stress. Okay, cool. Yeah. Do you like the changes to group stations? I don't. I do. They needed to be done. I don't think they're quite enough, but I do like them. I think overall, they're very good. Yeah. Boss health with other issues. It sounds like a lot of people solo are struggling with boss health. It also sounds like I think the ads before the boss there's a lot, and my issue is like it's fine with me. My issue is that it is harder to do groups. It takes longer to do group stuff than it does solo, and it's supposed to be the other way around. So I think the scaling is inverted. I think that it's flat enough now that it's not impossible to do group stuff. So I will continue to do that. Because what I like to do, just so you guys know, and you'll see this a lot, I like to help people that don't normally do content or don't know how to do it or are struggling. I like to help them through difficult content. That's been a lot of what I've done historically in Elder Scrolls. And so I will continue to do that kind of stuff with PvP too. That's kind of what I'm doing. But with PvE is what I mean with these testing stations. And so now I think it's in a place where like I can help people get through stuff. And it's not like, yeah, it's just not worth it. And it's a complete waste of time. Jacob says, yeah, know something that needs to be changed that most PvE builders would appreciate, giving us a wider view than when dropping a sub-vive. Yeah, Jacob, it is pretty frustrating, man. There's a handful of things with housing that kind of piss me off, honestly. And I've had some problems recently with all my entire house disappearing. But keep it quiet. What'd you say? Keep it quiet. Yeah, triple shot on boss and ancient way on ads. Yeah, keep it quiet or they'll nerf it. I don't know, man. I don't think they're trying to nerf anything, but I get the vibe. Bonanno says flying an ornithopter for 3 hours back to back was fun. Flying ornithopter terrace for 3 hours back to back was fun. Oh yeah, being able to repeat the quest over and over again. Yeah, no, that's fair. I think they need to buff the Pyrocket so it's a decent comparable to the Ancient Way, but better for infantry. The Pyrocket needs a buff, probably the least out of the ones I'm going to mention. Flamethrower definitely needs a friggin' buff. The Vulcan, both versions need a buff. The Dart version, even more so. Yeah, they're kind of useless right now. They're really not very good. How much would I have to coach my friends to do it? Dude, I've got a video out right now on the lightning station. You could send it to them and show them how to do it, man. Some of the other stations, like there's a handful of tools. A lot of the stuff is kind of rinse and repeat. It depends on your friends, but we've gone in with people that had never done the content before piece, and we got them through it. I'll be doing live streams of it too, man. So, and I'll be explaining to the people that I'm grouping with, and I do raid call outs and stuff like that. So yeah, you can maybe send it to them so it wouldn't be as much work for you if that's what you're looking for. But I honestly don't, I really enjoy it. So it's hard for me to say how much work it is because I just really enjoy it. Sad they introduced a poor damage weapon. Yeah, man, they've been broken. They've been poor damage and kind of broken for the longest time. Oh yeah. You mean the Pyrocket? Yeah. The Pyrocket is a little bit better, but it's not great. I heard there are some uses in PvP. But that's partially because like G5 gear is so broken and it has that big splash radius. So I think in group content, you can use the Pyrocket, but not many of us are doing that much, large group PvP content. Looks like good changes. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, cool. I would also like to help out with getting people through that kind of stuff. Okay, awesome, man. Yeah, you can do it, man. Then if it's something you're interested in, I don't think you'll have a problem, man. Mir says, I'm using heavy caliber missile plus payload. What is the third augment that's best for Ancient Ways? Mir, I did a video on augments, and Ancient Way, there's like 3 different loadouts you can use. Heavy caliber missile payload is, I assume, the increased damage. It depends what you want to do, man. If you want to destroy people's Thopters, you increase the magazine size. You want to get a perfect roll or near perfect roll of 50%. And if you get that, it'll have 2 missiles in between reloads, and it means you can shoot 2 missiles and basically destroy someone's Thopter and before you're having to reload. So that's what you would go with there. If you want to use it for PvE testing stations, you need the increase radius. That is S tier. That's what you want. If you want to use it on trash mobs in the testing stations in groups, then you actually don't run either one of those first 2 and you just go with missile destroying. And then for the third one, you could add a heavy caliber or missile payload, probably heavy caliber in that situation. So there's 3 different loadouts for you, man. Farm gear for 4 people, hoping we could do stations together. Was pretty frustrated when I realized the group was so poorly balanced. 1,000% piece. Me too, man. Me too. But now it's doable, man. check out that piece. If you don't know what to coach people on, check out my last video on Lightning Station. To give you the cliff notes, on trash mobs, you wanna have everybody run compel, of course. You want to run energy. What is it called? The thing that gives you powers to your shields that you throw on the ground. I forget what it's called. Dang it. I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, run that. That'll help people. Have one person melee the boss while everybody else ranges. Use a tractor field on the boss so that they can hit him easier. And yeah, there's a couple of other things in there, man, that might be helpful for your group that we figured out through testing. I'm sure you would figure it out. You probably already know, but like it might help you. It might save you a minute. My G5 plasma cannon damage isn't that bad. Real problem is having your shield down for so long and getting face smashed with no shield. Yeah, gal. But I think if it did more damage, that would be a solution, though. But yeah, man, it's not horrible. But yeah, it's not. Yeah. Lobo says, I like the only skills that buff damage. It's power capsule and inspiration. There's more than that. But yeah. When are they releasing server merger information? We don't know yet, Jacob, but I imagine relatively soon. Jacob, if you want to drop in on Thursday, I could probably give you some more information about that. I'll give it a look for sure, but I'm also like to try some stuff out, so I'll probably do, yeah, some modding to the build for sure. Yeah, it's kind of what I'm waiting. Yeah, a lot of people are waiting. Jack says I'm waiting for the server merge thing. Yeah, source of power. Source of power. Thank you, Gal. Yeah, run source of power can be really helpful. And then, there's stuff like stop and, there's a few other things. All right, guys. Well, I need to go right now. Appreciate everybody for dropping by, guys. Normally we would stream another like 4 hours, but I got a hot date for dinner. So I'm going to call it here. And I'll probably be back on later, chances are. But if not, we'll catch you guys later on in the week. Thanks, everybody, for dropping in. It's good to have all the conversation. Peace. I really appreciate the argument, the discussions. I think it's really good, man. Guys on Twitch, why don't we go find somebody to pop in on? Here on YouTube, we'll see you guys soon. Thanks, everybody, again, for dropping in. We'll catch you guys Thursday, guys. Thursday morning, I'll be streaming 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And the stream's already up. So we'll be watching for the announcement for the next chapter or whatever they want to call it. And then, we'll hear about all the stuff. I heard about it today, guys. It's exciting. So I suggest you tune in and we can talk more about it. All right, guys on YouTube. We'll catch you later, guys. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.